The introduction and active use of content marketing makes website development one of the most important parts of marketing today. In fact, one of the more interesting questions I get is, do I even need a website? Short answer, yes. Knowing that you need a website, you're probably wondering, alright, so what should it look like and how do I make it effective? In this section, I want to break that down for you because the biggest problem I see with websites is that they don't make sense. It doesn't matter how good your product is, how strong your ads are, or how top-notch your SEO is. If your website isn't user-friendly and easy to understand, then you won't see results, at least not the ones you should be getting. So how do you get those results? Let's break it down. Here's how to structure your website in 10 steps. Number 1, draw a map. Grab a pencil and some paper. You can do it online, but I like to go old school with this step. You want to draw out how you see your website in your head. The standard website typically starts with 5 main pages: home, about, services, resources, and contact us. Or that's an example. Even if you just plan to make a one-page site that covers everything, you still need structure. You'll want to divide each page into sections. For example, for home pages, I like to tell a story in 5 sections. The hero, which very clearly tells people what you do and contains a clear call to action. The problem, which poses a problem that people face and a few reasons why that problem exists. A solution, which tells the reader ways that they can solve that problem. A breakdown, which tells the reader why your specific solution is the best for them. Social proof, which might include things like testimonials or case studies, which explain how you helped others solve that same problem. And an ask, which gets you to the point of, we've got a solution for your problem, are you ready to give us a try? The structure is very similar to Donald Miller's story brand model. Now, if you've never read it, I highly recommend buying and reading a copy of Building a Story Brand while creating your website. Before you start building anything online though, write it all down on paper, lay it out in front of you, and see where it all fits. It's much easier to piece it all together before you spend time and effort developing it. You won't regret having a solid, tangible foundation in place. Step 2, build your header and navigation. At the top of every website, you'll find a header, which usually includes a logo and some key links to pages that go along with the main pages you created. This is known as your main navigation. For this, I recommend adding a clean, high-resolution logo image on the left-hand side. In marketing, it's important to always put your logo on the left side. There's a science behind it. Most languages go left to right, and in most cases, you'll want people to see your logo first. Having it in the middle makes navigation messy and more difficult, and having it right aligned decreases your brand recall, meaning less people will remember the name of your brand. Brand recall occurs at 39% if your logo is placed on the left, whereas it only occurs at 21% on the right. Put simply, you double your brand recall when your logo is on the left. Now, once your logo's in place, make sure you leave a decent amount of space between it and your navigation. In all facets of the website, you want a clean look. Finally, decide what belongs on your navigation menu. Keep it very simple and easy to understand. Instead of having About Content Marketing Pro, just use About or About Us. As a general rule of thumb, I like to keep my navigation at about the same size or less as 2 wordmark logos. Aim for symmetry, which is pleasing to the eyes of the viewer, and try to keep the amount of space you fill the same on the left and the right sides of your navigation menu. Step 3, build your footer. All websites are different, just as all companies are different. When it comes to my footers though, I like to use the space for things that are important, but not as important as the ones that are in your header. For example, you can add phone numbers, addresses, social media channels, frequently asked questions, privacy policies, blog feed, and copyright information to this section. While you still want your footer to be clean, it's more important for your most prominent sections to be easy to navigate. And if you don't have a moving header, one that moves with you as you scroll, you can even duplicate that information and add it to the footer. As for the footer formatting, if you have several links in your navigation, consider stacking information to make it look a lot cleaner. Otherwise, you can set it up horizontally like you do with your header. Step 4, create a clear, easy to find, and actionable call to action. First things first, add a call to action to every single page of your site. A call to action is most commonly referred to as a CTA, and something you'll need to familiarize yourself with. I'm saying this now because it's without a doubt the most important thing you can do to generate leads. If someone comes across a blog post of yours, you want them to take action without thinking about it or needing to search for it. They may not even be looking to make a purchase or to reach out, but always make them consider taking action. As for which actions you want them to take, we'll start with placement. I like to add CTAs to the top right of every website design, right in the navigation, and that CTA should stand out with a bright, actionable color, such as a blue or a red. Additionally, on high conversion pages such as your homepage or landing pages, I add CTAs right to the hero. I do this because if they already know they want to take action, putting the CTA at front and center helps them know exactly what to do next. You might also have subtle CTAs, which include things like case studies or learn more buttons. In that case, use a secondary color so it's still apparent but not quite as apparent as your main CTA. Now, I also like to add a sidebar button, which allows customers to take action at any point throughout your website, but with different wording so it's not the same as the one in the navigation. I do this as a form of A/B testing, and it allows me to see which type of customers I'm getting. Are you getting price shoppers or schedulers? With one CTA, you'll have buy now, where another one you might have schedule your consultation. Either way, you want to capture both. I use a very direct CTA, such as schedule now, right as the headliner, while supplementing it with a get your quote CTA that remains static on the sidebar. That increases lead generation by about 25%. The same customer might have different ideas of what they want to do, even though at the end, they're going for the same results. Semantics plays a major role in marketing. Use that to your advantage. Always be testing. And finally, include a CTA form at the end of every page of your website. Don't let people leave without having every opportunity possible to convert. About 90% of people who leave your website will not come back. That number is about 50% with e-commerce websites. Again, don't let people leave without having every single opportunity possible to convert. Step 5, minimize wording and content. Content is king, right? Well, there's also such a thing as too much content, at least on your website. While a good blog post might include 1,000 words or more, your website pages should have less than 600 words. In fact, I recommend keeping that number closer to, but not less than 500. Sure, you've got plenty to say about your business and your services. However, the highest converting websites get to the point very quickly. They're concise. For example, in your hero section, you'll want to have a main headline that clearly tells people what you do, and then a subsection that includes a brief summary and your call to action button. I generally like to keep that section in 1/3 of the hero, with padding or space separating content from other sections equally around each side. The more wording you add, the more likely you are to confuse someone, which leads to higher bounce rates, which means that people leave without taking action. Additionally, don't add too many pictures or graphics to your pages. Simplicity is key. You don't have to impress people with paragraphs upon paragraphs of text or by putting every image or video you've ever created on your website. That's what social media is for. Your website should be more functional than anything else. Yes, it should look great, but too much content only slows your website down, which drives readers away. If you want someone to see your portfolio images, link them to another page that's specifically designed for that and only that. Also, when I get to this more in the SEO section, hyperlinks are your friend. Instead of describing things fully on one page where you have limited space, try creating pages with full information and linking to them instead. That will keep your word count low and also help your SEO. Step 6. Keep your most important content above the fold. How important is it to get to the point quickly? The average adult attention span is less than 8 seconds, and the majority of website visitors spend less than 15 seconds on a site before leaving. Where are they spending that time? 80% of it is spent above the fold. The term above the fold derives from the newspaper industry. It refers to the top half of the front page of your newspaper. For a website, that part is what's in view when you open a page, which is why I've mentioned Hero 7 times. It's your most important section, and it should contain your most important information. People like to look at headlines and get a sense of what they're about to read. With that information, they'll develop a perceived value of it. You only have a few seconds to capture someone's attention with a small piece of your website. Make it count. Step 7. Check your site on all devices and browsers. If you've built a website before, there's a chance you've felt this pain. Your site looks great, fast, and appealing, and everything's in the right place, but you're not converting. You look at Google Analytics and find that the bulk of your customers, on average about 56% globally, are visiting you via a mobile device. So you check your website on your phone, and it looks entirely different from the one on your computer. The CTA isn't above the fold. Your main headline is cut off. The spacing is a mess, and it's running much slower than it does on your computer. When you're building a website and previewing the look, always test it on different devices and browsers. Sure, you can shrink your browser down and see if it's responsive to mobile, but iPhones are different, Androids are different, tablets are different, and things show up in Google Chrome that might not show up in Safari or Internet Explorer. It's best practice to optimize your site for mobile and for desktop. Your mobile site might have less graphics, so the important information can be consumed more quickly. The important part is that it works well on the devices. Now, if you're using a page builder like Elementor, you can actually hide images on mobile and on your tablet. Step 8, keep it light and fast. The top websites usually load fully within 5.3 seconds. Anything more than that, and people will leave. Keeping content on each page to a minimum is important, but also remember to resize and optimize that content. Keep your images between 1500 and 2500 pixels in size. Also, make sure you're consistent with your sizes. You don't want a bunch of different image sizes cluttering up your website space. Next, when you're optimizing them, you've got a couple of options that I recommend. First, you can use Photoshop to optimize your images for web if you're savvy with the program. Second, which is a way easier way, head over to compressor.io after you've resized the image properly and let the website do the rest for you. It automatically compresses your images for web without significant impact on image quality. Additionally, don't add too many plugins or too much extra coding to your website. I recommend using HubSpot's free tool, website.grader.com, to check out your site's performance periodically. That tool also tells you generally how you stand with SEO, mobile optimization, and security. You can also use Google's free developer tool, PageSpeed Insights, which provides more in-depth website performance analysis. Step 9, be consistent. We talk about this a lot in this course, and this part is no exception. Make sure that your website structure aligns with the rest of your brand. Use the same voice, color scheme, font, and overall look and feel. You want people to know that no matter which property of yours they land on, you own it. Also, make sure that your sections are all similar in size, your content has enough space and padding within all of those sections, all of your links work properly, and that your grammar and spelling are all correct. It never fails. People spend so much time and money on websites and miss small things that turn out to make a huge difference in whether or not people take action. Every piece of the puzzle matters. And finally, step 10, create lots of landing pages. Landing pages are what people land on when they click a link. Simple concept, right? You're going to have several different types, from your homepage to your blog articles. Earlier I mentioned that you don't want to overload your content on your most important website pages. Landing pages allow you to spread that content out across all sorts of pages. That way, you can continue to make light, quick, user-friendly pages and continuously add more content to your website. In a lot of cases, because I A/B test all of the time, I have several landing pages for the same service. However, I have different structures and content for each page because there are different types of people buying the same product, but for different reasons. Now, because you don't want to use the catch-all method, you can segment your audience and appeal to different audiences. When I work with a company who sells a bunch of different services, I create a service page as a menu. Then, instead of adding all of the service information to the menu, I hyperlink the name of the service or create buttons that lead to the other pages, and those pages describe the service. Alright, we covered 10 steps, so let's bring it all together. Your website is so important to your business, and there's a real opportunity to turn it into a revenue-generating machine. In fact, I've done it with dozens of companies across different industries. A lot of people said it wasn't possible in that industry until it happened. It's not just about having a website, having good SEO, or even powerful ads. You need to have a well-structured website that's fast, appealing, easy to navigate, and ready to generate leads. Follow these steps and you'll be in great position to start driving those results. Let's go.